AITA for refusing to met the biological child I do not claim. When I, 28M, was 16 I was groomed later SAED, by today's standards, by my manger 23F at the time. She had gotten pregnant. Now that child has reached out to me. It has gotten to the point that they are stalking me online. The mother contacted my girlfriend who is rightfully upset. It feels like they took away our safety. I have become paranoid in public. Everyone that I talk to about this, including my boss, since he noticed my work has been slacking, has told me that I owe this child a meeting. That every child has the right to know who their parents are. I disagree. I wanted nothing to do with that child when I was 16 and still do not want to be involved. My girlfriend thinks if I met him all this would be over. I think they will want more from me. I feel like this makes me an since I also never financially provided and most likely won't. I want this to stop. Update, to start I was not and still am not on the right headspace to revisit trauma that occurred 12 years ago. I also know that there are freaks who only want more details about the SA/rope to wank off to. To clarify, I grew up in a Catholic household, the fourth child out of 12. Being born a male meant at 16 it was required by my parents that I get a job to help financially put food on the table. At 16 we, siblings, were taught abstinence until marriage. That any sexual act violates our body and breaks the trust and bond towards our future spouse in the eyes of God, which is why I never proposed to my girlfriend. We were never taught to not trust adults. Our parents failed to teach us consent, power dynamics, and grooming tactics. I was a prime target. The grooming started with attention I liked as I didn't get it from home. Positive affirmations about my work. Soon there were friendly lunches. I mean, to me at 16 we were friends eating lunch together. Nothing strange. She gifted me clothing, that is when I felt uncomfortable. The clothes stayed in my closet until one of my siblings started wearing them. Nobody in my household questioned where the clothes came from. I tried to make excuses as to why I couldn't be alone with her. I have too much work right now. Eventually she called me into her office and asked if I knew the age of consent. I didn't. 16 is the answer. She admitted to being attracted to me. That if I was to keep being a man and providing for my family I would do as she instructed. I didn't say no or fight back. I was scared of losing my job. I was terrified of my parents finding out. I blamed myself for having my virginity stolen. We now know that cases of SA and rope are difficult to prosecute. The victim's testimony is what matters the most. I was a male, so I had that against me. I didn't fight back or say no. Clearly that means I wanted it, right? I wanted to brag to my peers. What peers? My siblings? Other children that attended the church, about bagging some hot 23-year-old that I worked for? Society 12 years ago viewed male victims differently than they do now. The guilt of sinning had eaten at me. I went to confession and told everything. I was told by the church to remain hushed. I was silent for 12 years. Now my parents know and they resent me for denying them a relationship with their grandchild. My siblings want to stay away from their children. I asked my girlfriend for space so she isn't a casualty in my shit trauma. My boss reached out and apologized for what he had said in the moment. He thought about it and realized that he may have negativity affected me. He also offered to pay for my mental health care at the really nice facility he found that specializes in rope trauma. He reassured me that my job with his company is secured. I may take his offer. Reading some of these comments I realized that I am not okay. I also reached out to my cousin's wife, divorce lawyer. She says if I take any legal action the outcome may not be what anyone wants. The word would get out and that child will also be known as having a child rapist for a mother along with a dad who left them. She is preparing medical records to send over and a verbal warning about the online stalking. I don't know who is behind the screen. A tech-savvy 11 to 12-year-old wanting answers or her using this opportunity to victimize me again. Either way, no matter what I choose, I will be considered an with trauma and that child will have some sort of trauma as well. Update 2. The support I have received on my post was overwhelming. To find out that this post has been shared to FB, TikTok, and other media sites has me feeling so grateful. No words can describe how the comments helped heal that damaged 16-year-old. I had read some of the most beautiful replies from a variety of individuals. Mothers, fathers, grandparents, expressing how much they wished they could have hugged and comforted me, since my parents and other adults in my life had failed me. Victims/survivors sharing their experience and relating to how I felt, offering comfort and advice. To lawyers explaining what steps I can take legally to protect myself. I have no words to describe the gratitude. Thank you everyone for the support. The most important part of this update is yes, the mandatory DNA test confirmed that child is biologically mine. Since another man had legally adopted him, I am not obligated to pay child support. I also have a cease and desist order in place. My lawyer handed over my medical history. As for my personal life, I had more downs than UPS. Starting with having to check out of the facility so the company I work for doesn't fall behind. The temp that was hired cannot keep up with the workload, and the option was to take my job back or be hired to a different position for the company at a later date. I still attend therapy sessions and found a therapist that I trust. My girlfriend is now an ex. She ended the relationship since she couldn't watch me self-destruct. I don't blame her. She is doing well and her new boyfriend treats her great. I wish them the best. Since she left, I was able to downgrade my 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom. The apartment manager was very helpful and understanding. He even waived the pet fee since I also got a dog. She was found around the office and became the office dog before I took her home. We named her Tuna Can, and she is always welcome at the office for work. I am happy to have her as my companion. This is the more rough part of the update. My mother took it upon herself to trick me into seeing her at a restaurant which she happened to invite the child to. I walked out. I made it clear in my letter that I sent with my medical history that I didn't want a relationship and listed my reasons. I explained that his existence is my trauma. I stated that I was not his dad and I choose not to be. The man who adopted him is, and he's doing a great job. Since she did this, I cut my parents from my life. I do not need toxicity while I work on my mental and spiritual health.